Hey, good morning. All right, so today we're talking about becoming the most peaceful and powerful force behind your success and how to use that as an expansion path to more authority, more visibility, more clients, and more money. As purpose-driven entrepreneurs and leaders, we all struggle with self-doubt, with fear, with overwhelm, with procrastination, with feeling stuck in some ways, with sabotaging our own growth, our own process, with imposter syndrome. Partially because we're human first before we're entrepreneurs. And so today I'm going to share with you some of what I've learned about coming back into this place of expansion when we find ourselves in the grips of one of those sabotaging patterns, how to come back to this, how to come back to a place of regulation, of liberation, of expansion. And towards the end of this training, I'm going to give you a practice. And it's the first practice I give my clients about essentially detangling ourselves from the version of us who is stuck in fear, who's stuck in contraction, and starting to re-anchor our identity in expansion. Because the aim here is to make sure that throughout your entire life, throughout your whole business, you are making decisions, you are showing up, you are executing strategies, and you are living, loving, and leading from expansion. That's how you become unstoppable. This training is going to be really applicable for you if you're tired of making less than you know you should. Like, you know, in here that you're supposed to be doing more, making more financially, that you're supposed to have a deeper, greater impact. And you're kind of tired of settling for less. You want to start to step into what you know is possible for you and you know is destined for you. And you want to stop getting in your own way and sabotaging that growth for yourself. So before I dive in, I want to introduce myself in case you're new to me. Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa. Feel free to say hi, by the way. I will come back and say hi to you and acknowledge you after this live. Personally, I'm a total spiritual nerd. I'm a dog mama. I'm a bookworm. I love to dance and spend time in nature. I'm absolutely an introvert. Professionally, over the last 20 years, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, a strategist for high achieving, purpose driven entrepreneurs and leaders. I essentially teach my clients how to rewire their nervous system, their lives, their bodies, and their businesses for easeful growth, for more tangible and consistent results, and for creating a business and a life that is deeply nourishing, deeply peaceful, and creates profit from a place of joy. And doing all of that, by the way, without stressing, without second guessing yourself, without sabotaging your process or spinning, and just having that ease that we all desire. At the end of this training, I'm going to talk to you about a brand new opportunity I created this month. I created 3 pop-up offers this month. 2 of them have been closed down, they're out. And then I have this last one that I'm actually going to keep because I love it so much. And this is really a one-on-one opportunity to go deeper with unlocking your nervous system and your business for wealth and well-being and creating what I call that freedom frontier for financial freedom and emotional freedom, because both are deeply intertwined and they're both co-emerging in our business. We need both. This is by far the most high touch, the most powerful, the most access you will ever have to me in terms of an offer. And at the end of this month, the price will go up by $2,000. I've got 1 spot left at the special price for this offer. So just stay tuned And I'll go into it in more details at the end if you're interested in totally revolutionizing your receivership, your leadership, and your finances. Okay, so let's get started. A huge amount of the work that I do with clients, even prior to working on strategy, even prior to figuring out what's going on in their business, is to help my clients rewire their identity, AKA also their nervous system, for easeful growth, for visibility, for more profits. And we essentially do that by training the nervous system and the brain. It's not just the body, the brain gets included in there, to stay regulated, to stay calm, to stay centered as we expand, to essentially stay feeling safe and worthy and able and capable as we start to achieve, receive, and hold more, or hold at that radically new level, and to do so from a place of ease. When I'm working with clients, I teach them a lot of powerful expansion practice to help them stay open, to help them get out of their own way, to help them feel safer, becoming bigger, so that it can be seen in a bigger way, so that it can receive in a bigger way. And one of the things that I've realized over the years, over working with hundreds of clients, is that growth, visibility, recognition, authority, being able to show up powerfully and execute properly, as well as getting consistent results and up leveling your results in your life and in your business, always comes down to how expanded your nervous system is. The level of regulation and expansion in your nervous system essentially defines not only your current identity, but also your current capacity. Your capacity to achieve more, to receive more, to hold more, to lead in a more powerful way. This capacity defines how willing we are to step in our authority, our availability to sell and enroll clients, our capacity to charge what we're worth, and to desire and request to be paid well, and also our ability to actually start to save and hold more of the money that we make, rather than always seeing it like we've got a hole in our pocket, always seeing it disappear. And then finally, from a lifestyle perspective, this capacity also is related to our ability, your ability, to receive love, to receive intimacy, to receive support in your relationships. So it's both very important to your business and very important to your personal life. And it's related to how easeful you will allow your life and your business to be, how nourishing and how enjoyable you will allow your life and your business to be, or whether or not you will only allow yourself to receive at those next level when you really sacrifice for it, when you really pay for it in some ways. So this is the end result. This is the most important thing you can remember. It's always about identity first and strategy second. The biggest mistake I see entrepreneurs and leaders make is to focus mainly on their strategy rather than focusing on embodying and becoming the version of themselves that actually has the capacity first to choose the right strategy for themselves. Then to actually has the capacity to execute and to implement the strategy powerfully and consistently. And then finally, focusing on the strategy rather than embodying and becoming the version of themselves who has the capacity to receive and to hold on to the results they want, to hold, to actually be able to feel comfortable with more. Strategy is 20% of the results you create. Your nervous system and your identity is the rest. 80% of your results are actually created by your internal capacity, by your internal operating system. Your nervous system, your brain, essentially your body. Without that external expansion, either your strategies won't work at all, or they won't work as well as you would have hoped. You're going to have to put in a shit ton of effort to get pretty disappointing results. Or your strategy will work, but in some weird way, you'll find a way to downright sabotage your actual progress, because something in you knows that you can't hold the you can't hold the results you want with ease. So something is actually in you is actually afraid of receiving the money, the clients, the opportunities that you say you want. So the first step for me is always for us to acknowledge where we are at. Like, where are you stuck? What fears, what doubts, what limiting beliefs? In what ways are you afraid to succeed? In what way is some part of you afraid that success is going to come at a high cost, at too high of a cost? And because of that, you're sabotaging yourself and you're getting in your own way. So we each have to get real about whether our current identity, the one behind the curtains, the one only you know about, is expanded, regulated enough, anchored in trust enough, confident enough, feels worthy enough, able enough to create, to receive, and to hold on to what you want? Or do you need to rewire and upgrade yourself? When I started mainly coming out of my shell a few years ago and really growing my private practice, obviously I wanted more clients. I actually wanted to be fully booked with a wait list. But what I kept bumping against was that actually something in me felt that if I brought on more clients, I was going to lose all my freedom. Everybody was going to want a piece of me. I would feel totally overwhelmed. And as long as I had that fear, that limiting belief, that contraction in my nervous system, that success, that more clients equal feeling drained, as long as I had that, it didn't matter what I did. I could not bring in more clients. So that's our work. If you are trying to create that next level of results, that next level of income from your current version, from the version of you who created the current results that you have and the current income that you have, that's not going to work. That version of you doesn't have the capacity for more. So you have no option but to upgrade, up-level yourself and your own capacity. As successful entrepreneurs and leaders, we all experience fears. We all experience self-doubt and overwhelm and even imposter syndromes at times. It's not about whether or not you experience it. It's about how you hold yourself and what you do with it that matters. Contractions are simply a fact of life. They're a fact of being human. And here's the weird thing. The more you're wanting and knowing that you're here to create something big, the more contractions you're going to have. Because being big is scary. Creating big things is scary. There's more chance for failure. The higher you go, the farther down you drop when things don't go your way. Every time you're planning on creating a big goal or you're wanting to do something new, you're going to encounter contractions. The trick is, do you have the awareness to catch yourself when you're starting to collapse and your energy starting to collapse? And do you have what you need in place to bring yourself back, to a place of feeling regulated, to liberate all these wounds, all these limiting beliefs, all these fears, and to essentially step back into expansion so that you can keep going and you can keep operating from expansion. The difference between entrepreneurs who succeed and receive big and those who don't is that those who succeed, the leaders who succeed, they don't merge with their contraction and they don't let their contraction take the lead. They don't allow a wounded, overwhelmed, young part inside themselves to essentially make decisions and run and grow their business. They have enough self-awareness to actually realize when they're starting to contract and starting to collapse. And they're able to shift their focus right back to, okay, regulating. How do I regulate my nervous system? How do I liberate this internal wound that's showing up, this sense of not being enough, this trauma, this fear? And how do I re-anchor my identity in expansion? They have the awareness to catch themselves and they have the tools to actually take themselves through that in whatever ways works for them, so that they can get back in flow, so that they can come back to a place of feeling inspired, motivated, and start to continue to take consistent action from that place of expansion, no matter what. To achieve extraordinary results in your business from that place of peace, of ease, of delight, you essentially have to learn to come back to regulation, to relaxation, to expansion as quickly as possible. And then you have to kind of learn to steep your whole being in that expanded identity, to start to really embody it, operate, and lead from it. You see, getting the results that you desire, growing your business with ease, is always about who's behind the wheel. It's never about the vehicle itself. So the strategies you're using, the tactics, they're the vehicle. They're what takes your genius forward. They're what brings your message out into the world. But your identity, who you're being, is the driver. If you put a scared 4 or 5-year-old behind the wheel of a race car, I guarantee you nothing's good going to come out of that. Even if it's an amazing car. Now, you put a regular person, like someone like me, behind the wheel of a race car. Honestly, I'm not sure great things are going to happen either. But I might be able to get us from point A to point B without crashing. And maybe we'll have a little fun in the process. Now, you put someone like Michael Schumacher, who is one of the greatest race car drivers of all time. You put that guy behind your race car, and that's when magic happens. So it's not about the car, it's about who's driving it. Same thing in your business. It isn't a strategy. It's always about who's operating the strategy, who's behind the wheel, what identity is driving the vehicle. And here's a sad truth that most of us don't want to realize. For a lot of us, we've got some scared, overwhelmed, wounded 4 and 5-year-olds trying to run and grow our business. We're actually operating in our business from a place of this, from a place of not feeling good enough, from a place of shame, from a place of feeling like we have to prove and improve ourselves, from a place of feeling like we don't have the capacity or the know-how or the ability to show up powerfully. No wonder that the strategies we're using oftentimes don't work the way we want them to. No wonder that the results we get come at such a high cost, that we have to try so damn hard, that we have to put so much damn effort. No wonder we feel drained, we feel unsure, we feel overwhelmed, we feel frozen. It's not us who feels frozen. It's that 4 or 5-year-old that's actually behind the wheel of that race car and doesn't fucking know how how to make it work, doesn't know where the breaks are in there and how to stop it. So our work is to make sure that we don't have the wrong identity, the wrong part of us running the show. Our work is about stepping and anchoring and embodying essentially our inner Michael Schumacher so that we can show up powerfully, so that we can actually execute with ease, so that we can be in flow and we can have fun while actually growing our business, and we can win. We can win in a way that feels deeply enjoyable. Because here's the truth that I want you to know. You have an inner Michael Schumacher. You have a version of you in here that knows. A version of you that knows his or her worth. A version of you that knows the brilliance, the power, the uniqueness of your work. A version of you that knows that you are a leader of men. And you're here to do big things, and you're here to receive big. And you absolutely have the potential and the capacity to make it happen. There is a version of you that actually is able to implement and to execute seamlessly without breaking a sweat, without doubting himself or herself. There's a version of you that feels nourished by your business and is in partnership with your business. That version of you, that identity, lives in that expanded state. And that expanded state can only be reached when your nervous system is fully regulated and is in the liberation, like you're in the process of liberating all these wounds, all these traumas, and you start to really feel safe. Safe being here, safe being you, safe being seen. That version of you, the one who wins effortlessly, seamlessly, easily, is anchored in what is possible rather than being anchored in what is or what has been. So here's the thing, what you're experiencing today in your business, in your life, the results you have been creating are always a ripple. They're an outcome. They're a creation of a prior identity, of an identity that was running the show in your past. They're the ripples, the outcomes of the beliefs, the actions, the decisions, the thought patterns of that prior identity. So if you were operating from a place of contraction and constriction, then more than likely you are experiencing the fruit of that contracted seed. And more than likely, those fruits are not all that satisfying. Our work here is to shift your present identity back into a place of liberation and expansion, and to make sure that you are operating from there so that you can create the sweet, juicy, luscious fruits that you desire to eat down the road. Who you are being now and who you are being every day from now, who is driving the vehicle, who is making the decisions, the action, taking the actions in your business, is what defines and determines the fruits, the results that will arise, that will emerge, that will come to you. Which is why it's extremely important to be in a position where we're continuously checking ourselves. And we are making sure that when we're showing up, when we're creating our posts, when we're posting, when we're going live, when we're reaching out to people to make an offer, that the version of us who is showing up is not that scared 4-year-old who doesn't feel enough, who's afraid of being rejected, who is afraid that no one's going to want to come to her birthday party. We want to make sure that the one who is operating, reaching out, making sales, making offers, going live is a version of us who has absolutely no doubt in his or her worth and value. If you follow me for a while, you've probably heard this, but it's not your offer that sells, it's your expansion. People don't buy what you're selling. They buy the expansion they sense in you, and they buy the expansion they sense is possible for themselves by working with you. If they don't want to be you a little bit, they're not going to want to work with you. So when you have your wounded self, your small self, operating in your business, showing up in your business, what you have is you have a contracted self that is running the show. And a contracted self only creates contracted results because people can sense that contraction and they don't want it. So you could have a shitty strategy that you're half-assing. But if you're half-assing it from this place of feeling deeply anchored in your own confidence, in your own worthiness, in your own excitement of what's possible, you will make more sales than having perfected a strategy and coming and showing up feeling like this. Because something in you literally doesn't want to be seen. So you will be overlooked. So you can't change the present because the present is built on the identity that has already come and gone. So there's no point in being at war with what is. When you're at war with what is, you're literally re-anchoring that old identity. You are literally creating resistance. Literally, the present is gone. But you can change your future. You can change the results you're about to create by being very aware of who you're being now and making sure that you're embodying and anchoring yourself in a version of you who has the capacity for more and who gets to feel deeply nourished internally and financially by your business. A version of you who gets to receive at a radically new level in a way that feels normal to him or her and doesn't come and doesn't require a huge cost or sacrifice. So that, who do you need to be today to have all of that tomorrow, to have exactly what you want tomorrow? That's the $1 million question. Like, what in you do you need to regulate? Do you need to heal? Do you need to expand today so you can create that next level of expansion, of freedom, of income in your life tomorrow? As I said at the beginning, when I work with clients, I give them a lot of different practices to essentially bring their nervous system back into regulation and recode themselves from the inside out so that they can show up and run their business from this place of strength and certainty and trust and basically be anchored in expansion. What I want to do right now is I want to teach you one of the first super simple but deeply powerful practice that I teach my clients to help them move out of contraction back into liberation and expansion. This initial practice is called the power of permission. For me, obviously, the first step is always awareness. I'm going to take that into consideration. Just assume that. You can't shift out of contraction if you don't recognize that you're in contraction. So over and over, part of our work is to always ask, okay, am I operating from constriction, from doubt, from freeze, from overwhelm right now? Or am I really deeply anchored in trust and certainty, in expansion, in openness, in flow? Am I right now moving from contractedness or from expansion? You want to just kind of keep checking yourself. You want to check yourself before you get on a sales call, before you go live, before you post something on social media. Here's the thing though, the moment you become consciously aware and you start to recognize that you're in contraction, that you're operating in contraction, that you're not feeling free right now, that you're not feeling certain right now, that you're not feeling excited and energized right now, the moment you realize that, you have a choice point. So once you have that choice point, once you've come into the awareness that you are in contraction, you are constricted, then here's what you want to do. It's going to seem simple, and I'm going to go a little deeper into it to show you the nuance of it. This by itself could absolutely transform your business and your results. It is the first step to bringing yourself out of that tightness, that fear, that non-enoughness, that lack, back into alignment and expansion and possibility. So first you notice, right? You notice that you're in construction. Then the second thing you're going to do after noticing is you're going to give yourself permission to be exactly where you are at. There is nothing that will keep you stuck more than starting a downward shame spiral because you are where you are or you're feeling what you're feeling. There is nothing that will contract your nervous system more than to beat yourself up for what is. So when you notice that you're in contraction, first thing I tell clients is notice where that contraction lives in your body. Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your chest? Do you feel it in your solar plexus? And wherever you feel it, put a hand or two hands. Sometimes I feel it in two places, and I'll literally hold myself in two places. And then you're going to simply talk to the part of you who is not feeling good enough, who is feeling overwhelmed. Remember, this is an inner 4 or 5-year-old that's taken the lead, and he or she is absolutely overwhelmed. He or she does not have the capacity to hold what you're trying to create, to show up in the way that you need to show up. So of course you're feeling this tightness, this overwhelm. So you want to put a hand on them and you want to just simply say to that part of you, say to yourself, it's okay to feel drained. It's okay to feel overwhelmed right now. It's okay to never want to make another decision in your life ever right now. It's okay to feel frozen. It's okay to feel stuck. It's okay to feel like you can't do this. You don't know how to do this. It's okay to not feel good enough. It's okay to be afraid of being rejected. Whatever is coming up for you, those are your words. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be. It's okay to not want to. Whatever is true for you, you are validating it and you are giving it permission. Here's the power of this. You see, the moment you turn towards yourself and you give yourself permission to be where you're at, to feel what you feel, for your life to be where it's at, your resistance starts to collapse. Something starts to be freed and liberated. The moment you give yourself permission, you turn towards this part of you that feels wounded, that feels constricted, two things happen. The first thing that happens is that this part of you automatically starts to relax because you're no longer at war with yourself. When you give yourself permission to be where you're at, to feel what you feel, for things to be as they are, you have dropped the war. Yeah, and you can start to, the moment you drop the war, you can start to slowly expand into what could be. So essentially, we give permission to what is so that we can begin to expand into what could be, into what's possible. Permission is the complete releasing of resistance so that you can start to receive more. So that's the first thing that happened. You end the war and you start to release resistance. The second thing that happens is the moment that you turn towards yourself, towards this part of you that was struggling inside you, and you give yourself permission, you are no longer the part of you who was struggling a minute ago. You are no longer the part of you who was drained, who was overwhelmed, who was stuck, who was frozen, anxious, who was stuck in doubt, who didn't feel good enough. The moment you turn towards yourself and you give yourself permission to be where you're at, unbeknownst to you, you have literally slipped out of contraction, slipped out of that small wounded self into your more sovereign whole self, your expanded self. You have become the version of you who is already free, who feels calm, who feels confident, who feels certain of his or her worth and of his or her belonging. And you don't have to believe me to do that. Try it. If you feel tight and you turn to yourself and you say, it's okay to be anxious, the one of you who's saying it's okay to be anxious is not anxious herself or himself. This version of you, this expanded self who's offering validation, acknowledgement, permission, support to the part of you who felt tight and afraid and overwhelmed, is not tight, afraid, or overwhelmed. That part of you is never merged with the constriction. That part of you is always anchored in expansion. When you turn towards yourself and you give permission, you automatically slipped out of that sense of being one with the one who's afraid, of being the one who's afraid. You slip out of that into being the one who offers support and is themselves not afraid. And the more you do this over and over and over, the more you literally like loosen this kind of almost conditioning that we have, that if we feel fear, we are afraid. If we feel overwhelmed, we are overwhelmed. If we don't feel like we've got what it takes, we don't have what it takes. No. Something in us doesn't feel like he or she has what it takes. But we're not that one. We are a much bigger version of ourselves who always knows that they have what it takes. So the more you do it, the more your identity starts to detach itself with the constriction and the contraction and shifts into expansion and starts to anchor itself and root itself in expansion. And so by giving yourself permission, you are suddenly shifting your center of identity, and you're making it safe for this wounded part of you to be with you. You essentially start to become your own best friend, your own safe place, your own North Star, your own teacher. Just even this tiny piece of the regulation, the liberation, and the expansion work will help you feel safe at multiple levels so that you can start to create, achieve, and receive more. It's going to help you start to feel safe being here in this body, in this life, in this current time, in our crazy, crazy ass world. It's going to start making you feel safe to be yourself. It's safe to be me, exactly as I am, even when I'm not perfect. It's going to start to make you feel safe being bigger and succeeding. It's going to start to make you feel safe being seen and being seen in your bigness. You're going to feel safe making decisions, making big moves, safe growing, safe expanding, safe asking and receiving what you want. It's going to make you feel safe to actually thrive. There's nothing you can create out there that's going to feel safe if you don't feel safe in here. And that tiny little practice of turning towards yourself and just validating and giving permission for exactly what you're feeling is the first step to doing that. Permission always helps you anchor to a part of you that is always already safe, always already expanded. It is the pathway to healing your past, but it's also the pathway to actualizing your potential and to starting to step in your potential and live the life you desire. As I stated at the beginning of this training, creating extraordinary results is always about stepping and anchoring your identity in a version of you who has a greater capacity to hold what you want, to receive the results you want. And that increased capacity, that identity shift, it doesn't happen up here. It happens in here. It happens in our body. It happens deep in our nervous system. It happens even in the biochemistry of our body. Identity shift, receiving more, leading from a more powerful place is actually an embodiment practice. If you've heard any of these trainings, you've heard me say before, money work is body work. Your body knows. Your body knows it because it holds all the wounds, all the traumas, all the limiting beliefs and the conditioning that literally have to be repaired, released, liberated. But your body also holds your wholeness, your fullness, your potential. It's the pathway to your potential. It's the pathway to what's possible for you. So the expansion in your body, when you're doing this work and you're starting to rewire your nervous system for more and to really start to rewire nervous system for that next level of leadership, for that anchoring of your identity and expansion, when you do that, then at first it's your body that expands. You start to feel good in here. You start to embody that sense of confidence. You start to feel safe being you, safe being big, safe being seen, safe asking and receiving more. And that sense of safety, that sense of embodiment starts to ripple. It starts to ripple into how you think and your belief system and your thoughts. Then after that, it starts to ripple in how you show up and the actions you take. And then finally, it starts to ripple and come back as your results. So it always starts deep in the body. Discovering the real magic in your work, being able to choose and execute the right strategies, being able to create and sell the right offers and charge generously for your highest level work, being able to sell confidently and market confidently, as well as getting the results you desire, all of that is an emergence that comes from your body. If you want to step in your leadership, you want to be seen and recognized as the expert you are. If you want to have a big impact, if you want to make great money, and you want to create extraordinary results with a lot more ease, a lot more flow, a lot more joy, in a way that feels deeply nourishing and satisfying, both to your soul as well as your bank account, then all of that starts with literally running your business from your body, from that somatic experience of expansion, and essentially rewiring your nervous system for that expansion and that increased capacity. And the first step to that is always to give yourself permission so that you can shift that point of center, that identity, away from any part of you that feels not good enough, that feels afraid, that feels overwhelmed, that feels not able enough, and you can release resistance. You can release the war with all those parts of you that are still wounded and still needing to be loved and supported and repaired. And you can start to really attune to the possibility. You can start to really attune to what can be and move from that capacity. Here's the thing I want you to know. You are the common denominator of all your successes and all your failures. I know that's kind of a bold statement and it's a little terrifying. At least it is to me, but it's true. Everything you create has one thing in common, you. Every failure you've had has one thing in common, you. As you start to embody the process of holding yourself powerfully, of anchoring yourself in expansion, of repairing all these wounds and restoring the flow, as you start to expand, everything else that you do, that you create, that you receive, starts to expand. It is inevitable. You are the cause, and your results are the effect. When you work on and you expand the cause, the effect ultimately follows. So make your nervous system, your identity, making sure that the right version of you is driving the show, your priority. And that's what I have for you today. And now I want to take just a couple minutes to invite you into my big pop-up offer of this month, because this is what it does exactly. This pop-up offer is called Map to Millions, and it's what this anchoring of yourself into expansion over and over and over, and making sure you're always showing up and operating and executing from expansion. That is what this offer is about. It might be the most powerful and life-changing offer I've ever put together. It's essentially a tailor-made expansion experience where you and I will partner together to create a completely custom roadmap to your next level, to what I call your freedom frontier, the frontier of your financial freedom and your emotional freedom. The way it will work is that you and I will essentially figure out what's your big vision for the next 3 to 5 years. Then you're gonna pick one big, bold goal that is aligned with that vision. Maybe a money goal, maybe a client goal. It's gonna be a goal of your choice. And we're gonna start to look at your business and rewire every facet of your business to be in alignment to that vision that you have and to that big, bold goal that you wanna create in the short term. So we're gonna look at your golden thread. We're gonna look at your messaging. We're gonna look at your offer and make sure that you're creating a quantum leap offer. We're gonna look at your sales process, your marketing, and make sure to align and elevate all of these pieces to be in resonance with what you're actually wanting to create. Once we have that, we're actually going to create a custom campaign for you. And this campaign is going to have a few super simple steps that you can take every single day to get you to where you want to be. This is going to be a few simple steps that you can do in less than an hour or in an hour. You want to think of this campaign kind of like as your space and time collapser. It's going to be the thing that if you do consistently every day, imagine waking up and knowing exactly what you're going to do in your business to move the needle for yourself. No need to think about it anymore. No need to wonder. No need to spend any time overthinking, overcomplicating the process. You're going to have a super simple step-by-step guide of exactly what you need to do in what order. And those steps are the things that are going to collapse time between where you're at and where you want to be. Once you have that, so that's kind of the strategic piece of this offer. You're going to anchor your vision. You're going to decide on a big, bold goal that you'd like to achieve in the next 6 months or so. And you're going to rewire, elevate, upgrade every piece of your business to be in alignment to this goal that you're trying to create. And then you're going to design a custom campaign. We're going to design it together that you can do every single day without overwhelm. That's going to collapse time and space. The other thing that this offer is going to include, and that's the big part of it, it's going to include all the custom nervous system rewiring, brain training, and energy recalibrating that you need in real time to dissolve any resistance that comes up, to dissolve any doubt, any overwhelm, any procrastination, perfectionism, any other kind of sabotaging pattern that is ultimately going to come up. Because expansion is scary. Because showing up for yourself powerfully is scary, because there are going to be parts of you that say, oh shit, we can't create this kind of money. We can't bring in these kind of clients. We're going to be overwhelmed. We're going to lose our freedom. We're going to be a target. People are going to criticize us. We're going to bother people. All your little wounded parts are going to start to percolate to the surface because they're going to be scared at being this big. And I'm going to give you everything you need to hold these parts, to repair them, and to anchor yourself in your expanded, sovereign identity, rather than merging your identity with all these wounded parts. So you're going to receive all the tools you need to essentially heal all the wounds and traumas that you have collected over your lifetime, including the shit that's been passed down to you from your ancestors. And you're going to have all these tools to get out of your own way so that you can stay inspired, so you can stay motivated, so that you can stay in motion, because motion is expansion. So we're going to work closely together every step of the way, responding in real time as things arise to whatever needs pop up, whatever blocks, whatever concerns are showing up, whatever wounds are showing up, so that you can stay emotionally free, so that you can create the financial freedom that you desire. So this offer is literally a complete custom internal and external roadmap and routine, essentially, to creating big goals and to accomplishing more in a few months than you usually accomplish in a year, maybe even 2 years. And doing all of that from a place of clarity, from a place of ease, from a place of peace. We're going to work together 4.5 months or so, 18 weeks, and you're going to receive one-on-one sessions with me, essentially 3 to 4 one-on-one sessions with me every single month. We're going to start out at the beginning with a bunch of intensive, longer sessions, 90 minutes to 2 hours, to really rewire the business, to really anchor in that map to millions. And then we will have 45 minutes to 1 hour sessions after that to tweak the process, to rewire your nervous system, to help you re-anchor your identity in expansion over and over and over, to make sure that you don't get stuck in the weeds and you don't end up hiding or playing small. What's great to hear is that it's not just the sessions. You will have access to me in between sessions, direct access to me, to review a piece of your content, to review a piece of your copy, to help you respond to somebody who's reached out to you, to help you have a quick shift if you get all stuck in tight. And what you will also get is you will get accountability, but it's not just about you reaching out to me. I will reach out to you. Here's the thing. Most of us, when we get overwhelmed, when we start to doubt ourselves, when we end up collapsing our energy and freezing in our nervous system, we actually don't do what we're supposed to do. We don't reach out for support. We don't ask for help. And that's been one of the things I've noticed with my clients is that even when they, especially when they need an extra session or an extra piece of support, they don't reach out to me. In this offer, I've priced it so that I can reach out to you regularly to check in with you, to make sure you're not playing small, to make sure you're not hiding, to make sure you're not staying stuck. Because the entire point of this is to bring you back in a place of balance internally so you can get back in flow and you can stay on track. So you're going to get all the guidance you need, both strategic, emotional, and energetic, to stay expansive, to stay in motion, and to create the results that you really want. The other thing I'll provide you in this offer is some bite-sized, tailor-made techniques and practices that you can use for the rest of your life to crush your goals. So this offer is you and I partnering together to design a roadmap to you potentially making millions in your business. You will know after this offer, after these 4.5, 5 months together, you will know exactly who you need to be, how you need to anchor in that version of you, and how you need to show up every single day to create the results you want to create and to essentially like even surpass your goals. So if this is for you, then reach out to me. If you know you are made to do something really big in your business and you're done settling for less and you're done stalling and freezing and resisting your growth and blocking your progress, and you want an offer that's going to give you some real foundational strategic pieces that you need, as well as a lot of accountability, a lot of hand holding, a lot of rewiring work so that you can show up as the most powerful and peaceful version of you, then this offer is for you. It will literally make you bulletproof. And it will show you exactly how to re-anchor in trust, in certainty, in confidence, in calm, over and over and over every time you waver. It is the kind of offer that's going to amplify your success significantly and shave off potentially years of you figuring this shit out on your own. So if you're ready to break through to that next level income without the confusion, without the overwhelm, without the sabotage, and create that emotional freedom in a way that is deeply anchored in emotional freedom, then this offer is for you, and I would love to take you through it. I will probably never offer this level of access to me, this level of support, this level of customization at this price point again. So if this offer intrigues you, then let's hop on a 20-minute call. I put the link to that call in the description of this video. If you're like, I think this offer is for me, I can afford the $4,000 and some dollars, especially with the payment plan. This is exactly what I need to get to my next level, to break through all my internal shit. Then let's hop on a call and let's have you be that one, because there's one spot. And then after that, the price is going to go up significantly. All right. My wish for you is that you feel deeply nourished, deeply accomplished, and deeply confident in your life and in your business. And I would love to be a guide on this journey with you, a partner on this journey with you to emotional and financial freedom, because you deserve it. You've probably done all the work you need to get there. And now it's just that final tweak of not getting in your own way. Sending you lots of love. And if that's not the offer for you, I'm sure we'll work together at some point.